Before you guys go, the passage that you guys were talking about, Genesis 32, that where God wrestled.
Oh, with the angel, but an angel. I mean, you can show me, but I know that passage.
Yeah, so he was saying that Jacob wrestled with God, and then you said Jacob wrestled with an angel.
Jacob, he wrestled with God literally?
Yeah, it was through an angel. I believe it was through an angel.
If you look, he says, I have wrestled with God. That would be very blasphemous to say to an angel.
But there's another verse that says nobody has seen God and
Amen.
Yeah.
Nowhere in the passage in Genesis 32, because I hear this a lot. I hear it a lot. Even Christians, not Jehovah's Witnesses, but Christians interpret this as Jacob wrestled with an angel. Yeah. That's not what the passage says. Can we read it together before you guys go?
Well, you can show me, but
okay.
I mean, sometimes it's an image, like not necessarily that it's God himself wrestling with him.
Okay, so let's read the passage. Genesis 32:22. It says, and he arose that night and took his 2 wives, his 2 female servants, and his 11 sons, and crossed over the ford of Jabbok. He took them, sent them over the brook, and sent over what he had. Then Jacob was left alone with an angel? No. Then Jacob was left alone with a man. And now while you guys were talking, I was looking up the Hebrew. Genesis 32:24. Man is Enosh or Ish. Right here. So mankind, a man. So not an angel. So look, it says, then Jacob was left alone, and a man wrestled with him until the breaking of day. And then it says, now when he, the man, saw that he did not prevail against him, against Jacob, he touched the socket of his hip, and the socket of Jacob's hip was out of joint, and he wrestled with him. And he, the man, said, let me go, for the day breaks. But he said, Jacob said, I will not let you go unless you bless me. So he said to him, what is your name? He said, Jacob. And he, the man, said, your name shall no longer be Jacob, but Israel. So remember, it was God who changed Jacob's name to Israel.
Yeah, I remember that.
Your name shall no longer be called Jacob, but Israel, for you have struggled with God and with men, and have prevailed. Then Jacob asked, saying, tell me your name, I pray. And he said, why is it that you ask about my name? And he blessed him there. Now look at this, verse 30. So Jacob called the name of the place Peniel, for I have seen what?
God face to face.
God face to face.
But what does it prove to you?
Jacob said, this is his testimony. He wrestled with a man, but then he says, for I have seen God face to face, and my life is preserved.
Okay.
Now you asked a good question earlier. You said, well, no one has seen God, right? God, you can't see God and live, right? There's a passage that says, if you see God, you'll die.
But does God can die?
No, if we see God,
anyway,
you see
we
God.
will go because I have an appointment.
You gotta go? Okay, okay.
But it was nice talking.
Yeah, you guys as well. Take care.
Thank you.
So just as we were packing up, about to leave, these 2 ladies approached us, and I thought they were believers. I thought they were Christians. But then later on, they told us that they're Jehovah's Witnesses. Where I was going with showing them in Genesis 32 that Jacob wrestled with God is throughout the Old Testament, we see Jehovah, we see Yahweh appearing in visible form in the Old Testament. Whether it's in Genesis chapter 3, the Lord walking in the garden, here in creation, or whether it's Genesis 17 and 18, Yahweh appearing to Abraham, or Exodus 3, God speaking through the burning bush to Moses, or Exodus 17, where Yahweh says to Moses that he will stand on the rock in Horeb, the rock that Moses will strike, that water may come out of. Yahweh himself will stand there on the rock. And there are so many more examples in the Old Testament of God appearing in visible form, pre-incarnate Christ. This is the Old Testament. So it's no foreign or strange concept biblically that God can do that and has done that, and that Jacob wrestled with God who was in human form in Genesis 32.